Welcome to Caliban Command. Today we are covering the next two detachments, the Stormlance Task Force and Vanguard Spearhead. The Stormlance appears to be a solid choice for Ravenwing, while the Vanguard Spearhead seems to be an interesting choice if you wish to run Phobos heavy. Lightning Assault is the buff we receive from this detachment. It's ultimately a mobility buff that helps increase our threat range quite nicely. For enhancements, we have Fury of the Storm, which improves the strength and armor penetration of the bear's melee weapons by 1. After a charge is successful, it is improved to +2 to strength and armor penetration. Portents of Wisdom grants rerolls on advanced rolls made for the unit while the character is leading a unit. This is a good way to get charge rerolls on a unit. I think mounted units are the ideal targets for this. Fainting Withdrawal. While the character is leading a unit, it allows the unit to shoot in a turn where that unit fell back. Hunter's Instinct. If the bearer's unit is in strategic reserve, you treat the battle round as being one higher than it is for deployment to the battlefield. This can lead to earlier options for flanking deployments. Armor of Contempt is here in the stratagem section again. 1 command point to remove a point of armor penetration from incoming attacks during your opponent's shooting and fight phases. Blitzing Fusillade during your shooting phase grants one of your units the assault rule on their ranged weapons, and if they had it already, they gain sustained hits as well. This is really solid for Ravenwing Black Knights, and I think will make for a really good combo. Full Throttle during your movement phase adds 6 inches of movement, 9 inches if the unit is mounted. This can give mounted units a large threat radius in this detachment. Shock Assault during your charge phase, a mounted unit gains rerolls to charge rolls and the lance ability on their melee weapons. I think Black Knights are once again a really solid target for this stratagem. Ride Hard, Ride Fast allows you to, during your opponent's shooting phase after your opponent has selected targets, subtract 1 to the incoming hit rolls and wound rolls that target the unit the stratagem is used on. Wind Swift Evasion. During your opponent's movement phase, when an enemy unit ends their movement, advance, or fallback move, one unit within 9 inches of that unit can make a normal move of up to 6 inches. I'd slate this at a solid 5 out of 8. It heavily benefits our Ravenwing and makes a fun list building tool to run Ravenwing within. Vanguard Spearhead. Shadow Masters is the name of the detachment rule, and any unit outside of 12 inches suffers a -1 to hit your units and grants benefit against such attacks. The enhancements for this detachment are kind of interesting. The Blade Driven Deep grants a unit the bearer is leading Infiltrate, a good way to forward deploy a unit such as Eradicators or such. Be careful forward deploying too far. This is a good way to move Tacticus or Gravis units into forward positions towards the start of the game. Ghostweave Cloak takes an independent character and grants them stealth and lone operative abilities. This could be granted to a model and then used to protect the lion, for instance. Execute and Redeploy. A Phobos character can be given this enhancement, and if the unit has shot and is not in engagement range, it can make a 6-inch move. It cannot declare a charge that turn and cannot be used more than once in that turn. Shadow War Veteran. Once per turn, a Phobos leader with this enhancement can increase an opponent's stratagem cost by 1. This is a permanent modifier and can absolutely alter your opponent's game plan for an entire match. The stratagems here are a little strange to me. Deadly Prize wants you to sabotage an objective for 1 command point, and during your command phase, that objective becomes a hazard to your opponent. It lasts for the game or until tripped, and it's tripped by a normal, advanced, charge, or fallback movement within range of that objective. Afterwards, you roll a d6, and on a 2 or higher, that unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. Armor of Contempt is here again, 1 CP, reduce incoming armor penetration by 1 during an opponent's shooting or fight phase for a unit. Surgical Strikes cost 2 command points, and during your fight phase, an infantry unit you control gains precision on their melee weapons. Strike from the Shadows costs 1 command point and can be triggered during your shooting phase, and an infantry unit you control while targeting a unit further than 12 inches away gains +1 to hit and improves their armor penetration by 1. Calculated Feint can be activated during your opponent's charge phase after a charge is declared that targets one of your infantry units. That unit can move d6 inches or 6 inches if it is a scout or a Phobos unit. This costs 1 command point. Guerrilla tactics for 1 command point, up to 2 Phobos or scout units or 1 infantry unit can be removed and placed into strategic reserves. This is done at the end of your opponent's fight phase, and they must be 3 inches away from all enemy models at the beginning of it. I'd rate this one a 3 out of 8. We just don't have the named character support to lend itself well to Phobos builds, and it's not the worst option, but I'm not a fan of it personally. We're going to talk about Hobbytown now. They are the sponsors of our channel currently, and they have a phenomenal array of painting tools. They have paints, they have models, they have everything that you could possibly need. Not to mention, their staff have always been super knowledgeable about anything that I've picked up there. They've made some recommendations for how I could improve my hobby flow. They've gone through the effort of helping me find a starting point in 40k in a faction that I love. I've played Dark Angels now for years, and that's largely thanks to them helping me figure out what faction fit me the best. The series as a whole has been a blast to work with them on. They've helped me find stuff for Age of Sigmar that I enjoy. They've ordered stuff in that I haven't had access to before. They've helped me find paint alternatives when they didn't have a Citadel paint that I needed. They've helped me find new board games to play. It has genuinely just been a really helpful crew to work with. They stock Army Painter, GW, Testers, Tamiya. They have Mission Models paints, which I got the pleasure of trying out recently and had a really great time with. They stock Gundam kits, anime kits of various types. They have the Vallejo paint line, which I use a lot when I do Gunpla to just really bring out some neat color combinations with. They have all kinds of fun in there, and I genuinely cannot recommend the store enough. I hope you guys check them out. Even if you can't find a local branch, I hope you check out their online store at hobbytown.com.